I'm Peter Bois, nationally touring magician.
And I'm Gus Davis, nationally touring game show host.
We don't get regular Saturday nights because we are out performing on the weekends.
That's why Mondays are so special to us. They are our Saturdays.
We will help you get through your Monday by joining us on our Saturday.
Monday is the new Saturday. Welcome to Monday Club.
Welcome to Monday Club! Woo, I'm out of breath. Hey, guys and gals, welcome to Monday Club. I am Peter Bois, here with my amazing voice mate, Gus Davis. Welcome to the pinnacle of your week, Monday and Monday Club. This week, we cheers to defending your right to party. You guys are going to want to listen to this. Hilarious. We're talking Cobra Kai and Drinko de Mayo. David Copperfield has to give away secrets because he got sued. I've been on the road all week from Vegas to Austin. Got a lot to talk about. Gus does magic outdoors begrudgingly, and we teach you some things that will help you with fraud and pizza. So do not miss this episode. Hey, Gus
Cheers!
Davis!
Monday cheers!
Monday
we
cheers!
Did it! We made it!
We're back! I'm back from Austin.
Oh, dude, it's so good to see you in your rightful place as a two-dimensional talking head on my computer. Seeing you in person was just too much. It's like it's flying too close to the sun, bro.
It was weird that I could reach out and touch you last week.
It's true.
Every time we were talking, I'm like, "Oh, are we recording? Is this is this part of the podcast?"
Yeah, I thought that a couple of times. I thought, man, if we were recording right now, we could just pause this and take a sip and then keep going.
we should have recorded it. We had some amazing times.
Yeah, we'll get into that. Get into that.
But you know what? We did party, right? We were partying in Austin, and there are people. There are freedom fighters, Gus. There are freedom fighters fighting for our right to party.
Are you talking about the Beastie Boys song? You got to fight for your right to partay?
This is the next evolution. They're not just singing about it. They're bringing it to court.
What?
Yes. They are bringing the fight to the man for our right to party. I don't even know who found this video. One of us found this video on Facebook, and there are these teens. No, it can't be teens. It has to be legal.
I would say if they're in court, so I think they're at least of drinking age. I would put them early college years.
Yes. And this is our cheers of the week, by the way. We are cheersing to these guys. They are defending their right to have a house party.
Oh, yeah. I believe the setup for this is that there was, a while back, there was some laws proposed in California to shut down house parties for the noise violations and underage drinking and all the debauchery that goes along with house parties. And so these two fine, upstanding partiers chose to go into the they're in official court. I think they're talking to an actual judge, senator, representative, somebody who is in power.
Oh, yeah, this is like a hearing or something where the public can come and weigh in on what they think the bill is about, right? Or if they're pro or nay.
Pro or con, yeah. Well, these bros are definitely con.
Definitely they're bros, dude.
They are definite bros. We don't normally do this on Monday Club. We usually let you we link the article and let you watch this on your own time. But I think the audio to this deserves your listening.
I agree. Let's do it. Here it goes.
Identify yourself.
What up, Council? My name is Chad Kroger. I'm an activist and house party enthusiast. Over the past week, I've been in a state of deep despair upon hearing the news that LA is trying to outlaw house parties in the Hollywood Hills.
Deep despair.
I am here determined to stop this future atrocity. House parties were the bedrock of my development as a young man in San Clemente. My first introduction to manhood came when the captain of my water polo team, Boomer Kingsley, asked me to shotgun a tall can of Bud Light in front of the whole squad at his end of the season bash.
Manhood.
His parents were in Tahoe at the time, so we tore that weekend up. It was
tore it up, bro.
and I was super stoked. My newfound confidence gave me the courage to ask out the most popular girl in school, Lauren Stockholder, to prom that year.
This could be a Bud Light commercial.
She rejected me, and I had to go with Stacey McMillan. But I didn't care because I was so amped on chugging with my boys. That's what house parties do. Raging at house parties is the truest way to party.
Next speaker, please come and identify yourself.
Oh, my God.
What up, Council? My name is JT Parr. I am also here to defend parties in the Hollywood Hills. I grew up like most kids, worried I couldn't bench 2 plates, that I wouldn't fit in, that I wouldn't find love. Then I discovered partying, and suddenly all those worries went to the wayside. I didn't need love. I had keg stands. I discovered I was great at raging, and it revealed wonderful things about myself.
All you need
I
is
could
keg
relate to
stands.
bros, regardless of what kind of bro they were. I could be at a party and moon people, and everyone would laugh, be witty.
Mooning is
Or I could play beer pong and compete with real integrity. In short, I fulfilled my potential. If you outlaw house parties, you may keep the volume down, but an externality is that you may keep people from bonding.
Externality?
America needs bonding. People need to put aside their differences and find common joy. There's no more effective environment for that than a frickin' rager. This is best exemplified in me and Chad's relationship. We were star-crossed. He a surfer, me a bodyboarder.
Thank you. And I want to welcome you to LA Council's Bill and Ted's excellent adventure.
Oh my God!
They were friends because one of them was a surfer and one was a bodyboarder, and there's just too much bad blood between those body surfers.
Would never cross. But then they found raging house parties. They were able to bond.
They found bonding over a common keg stand, confidence-boosting keg stand.
Oh my God! Look. Before we do anything else, cheers to these bros just for having the balls to step up into a place of law and order and say, "What up, council?"
You know how they got the confidence to go into that council room?
Raging keg parties, bro.
Boom.
Cheers.
I'm still going to link that in the show notes because I know you guys probably want to listen to that over and over and over and over and over again.
I'm going to make my ringtone be like, "What up, council?"
I love how they were able to have a rager because their parents were in Tahoe.
In Tahoe.
That's such a Hollywood Hills thing.
Oh my God, it's so great. They gave me the confidence to ask out the most popular girl in school. She said no, but I didn't even care.
Yo, my dad took the Porsche, so I had to take the Tesla X.
Oh my God. So great.
Double cheers to those guys. Those are awesome. This week I am drinking Sam Summer. I still have a bunch of that in the fridge, and I will all summer. So, that is my go-to beer this summer. Sam Summer, delicious. Find it out and drink it if you haven't yet.
That sounds awesome, man. Well, I had some people over last night, and we popped open a bottle of champagne. So I'm drinking one of my favorite, least not very expensive champagnes. It is a Prosecco. It's from Cupcake, and it's a really easy, nice, smooth champagne. So Prosecco Cupcake. Check it out.
So fancy. But Gus, you're not drinking champagne because only champagne comes from the Champagne region of France. Everything else is sparkling wine, and Prosecco is an Italian sparkling wine.
This is true.
All right. Just want to throw that knowledge on you.
It's only Champagne if it is from Champagne.
Well, thank you.
I learned that from a raging kegger, bro.
When my buddy forced me to shotgun a Bud Light, and I got the confidence to go ask this chick out, but she declined. But I didn't care because I had beer.
God, I could listen to that all day.
Oh, man. Well, thank you guys for listening. We love that you're here with us on Monday and Monday Club. Thank you so much for being part of our club and your club too. check us out on iTunes. Give us a little love and star rating up there. All the reviews and star ratings help build the club and the clubhouse. We want to spread the word. Tell your friends about us. We just had a last episode, as you know. We have a best of Monday Club. Gus culled through tons of amazing audio files and found some of our funniest stories and bits, and even stuff we never released before. So if you haven't checked that out, make sure you do that. And that might be a great way to introduce somebody to Monday Club. So share that episode around, and it's kind of short. It's under 40 minutes, so it's not too much of a commitment. And check us out. Oh, we are releasing exclusive content through our newsletter only, and so you have to sign up on our website, mondayclubpodcast.com. Put your name and email in there, and you will be signed up for our newsletter, which goes out once a week. And you can totally buy us a drink. Totally. Or a keg. Send us... Yes! We will do keg stands on air for you. But send us the money. You can PayPal us, mondayclubpodcast@gmail.com, or email us questions, comments, whatever you want, mondayclubpodcast@gmail.com. We're on Twitter and Instagram, Monday Club Pod and Monday Club Podcast. Also, listen any way you want through Spotify, YouTube, iTunes, or go to Monday Club Podcast for all those ways. And that's about it. Thank you for being part of the club on this Monday.
Yeah, we love you guys. Thank you so much for everything that you all do for us. Please continue to send in anything. Be part of the club. Be an active vocal member. If you have any questions, ask us anything. We'll answer it. We can't promise you it'll be right, but we will certainly answer it.
Oh, I'm always right.
Pete's almost never right. It's never science.
Dude! A month or two ago, I recommended YouTube Red, right? As my
you did.
And
yep.
here's a bonus little thing that I got last week or 2 weeks ago. They are making, if you haven't heard yet, if you're one of the people under the rock that has not heard, YouTube is creating original content for YouTube Red, and their big release is Cobra Kai. Now, for those of you who did not grow up in the 80s, Karate Kid was a huge part of my life.
Wax on, wax off.
Yes, that was a huge part of my life. It's one of those movies that defines my childhood and my adulthood. It's like first is Star Wars, then it's probably Karate Kid is probably in the top 3 right there. And
really?
Yeah, it's huge. My dad is super into martial arts movies, so that was a perfect movie, family movie, martial art movie, so that you could watch when you're a child.
Now, did you like all 3 of them?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, the first 2 are the best. The second one is the best in my opinion. I like the second one the best when he goes to Japan.
Which one has sweep the leg? Is that the first one?
That's the first one, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I just like how they were like fighting, and yeah, they seemed like real bad guys in the second one. And so YouTube Red is making Cobra Kai, which is 34 years into the future. What happened to Johnny Lawrence from the first one, the guy who swept the leg, and Daniel LaRusso. Wow, almost blanked on his name. What happened 34 years in the future, and it is amazing. It's like it has real stories and real emotion. You buy into these characters, but at the same time, it doesn't take itself too seriously. It has a couple of winks in there to things you might be expecting to come because you're a Karate Kid fan. So they go right up to the line of almost like breaking the fourth wall a couple times, but they don't. And it's just like they take you to the edge and then they pull it back, and it is just. I liked every episode. I think it's fantastic. Have you seen it, Gus?
I haven't seen it, but it's on my list because everyone that I've talked to about this show has said how awesome they think it is. But I also want to say how truly amazing it is that the studios that are out there, HBO, Hulu, Amazon, Netflix, and now YouTube, all are getting their own exclusive content, and the only way that they're able to compete with this exclusive content is to make really, really, really good programming. And so it's really neat to see them, all of these different groups, put out such amazing content that now TV is so far above where movies are right now. In my opinion, I think it's just really it's cool. It's cool to live in a time where the writing takes precedent over how much money studios are going to throw at something.
Yeah, and I like how all these TV shows are now movies, episodic movies, essentially. Because you can't make a 5-hour movie, right? But you can make a series of 10, 30-minute episodes to create a 5-hour movie, and then new seasons and everything. And those are the stories that are doing best. I mean, Marvel has the episodic movie blockbusters, like they just never end. They just always they connect. So I'm digging it. I'm digging it big time.
Well, that's cool. Well, I will definitely check it out. I know that it has your recommendation, so I'm in. I'm in for this Cobra Kai TV show. I did see one preview where it showed in the background some guy washing the window on the outside of the dojo, and he was like, "Hey, should I wash this window any special way?" And I mean, the guy was like, "No, man, just do what you want. I don't care." And it was such a great, throwback to the original Karate Kid movie. So yeah, man, I'm in. Thanks for the recommendation.
Yeah, no problem. And yeah, the whole season's peppered with little comments like that, and sometimes go under the radar, sometimes or take center stage. So yeah, it's great.
Well, that's cool. Well, so I want to tell you, I got to see you in Austin last week, which was really cool, but we haven't caught up in a minute, and I want to tell you about a weird thing that happened to me. I got a last-minute call from an agent to come and do a walk-around magic show at a nightclub on Cinco de Mayo. So the gig was from like 9 till midnight, and all I knew was it was at a nightclub. So I show up dressed nice, right? Like I've got my sport coat, slacks, nice shoes, vest on, collared shirt, all of that, fedora hat. And I show up, and apparently it was a clothing product release line that was coming out. So a brand new clothing line that had their red carpet unveiled. So they had all these models on a red carpet, and everyone was going up and getting pictures with all these models. And then they had Houston rapper Paul Wall. Have you ever heard of Paul Wall?
Nope.
He did a lot of stuff with Young Bloods and anyway, it doesn't matter. He's a rap dude. Texas Houston rapper was the artist, the big draw for the night, and it was such a weird night. I felt so out of place at this hip hop concert with like dressed the way I was, man. It was such a hip-hop concert. They had VIP rooms everywhere and stuff like that. But the weirder part was that the same agent booked me as walk-around magic. They also booked a juggler and 2 stilt walkers and a sword swallower to just walk around this nightclub and be entertainment for all these people. So everyone is just drunk. There's people throwing up all over the place, and then there's this sword swallower guy walking around
he's
doing his thing.
You guys need me to pull your trigger?
Yeah, pretty much, man. And then the stilt walker chick was super cool, but she came up to when we were taking a break, we walked back to the back room, and I helped her down the stairs, and I was like, "So, how's this going for you?" And she's like, "Yeah, I keep getting all these dirty looks from all these girls that are here because my butt is basically at eye height for all of their men, and they're like, nobody's happy about it. So it's been a little awkward." I was like, "That's hilarious." So yeah, man, that was really, really funny. That was how I spent my Cinco de Mayo, was just doing magic for super drunk people on Drinko de Mayo.
That sounds funny and almost fun.
Yeah, it was almost fun. Oh, but one cool thing that did come out of that is the local rep for Revolver Brewing Company that does
your favorite
Blood
beer,
and Honey beer. Yeah, he was there, and so I got to do magic for him, and he gave me his business card. It is right here. And I've gotten in contact with him, and we're going to see what we can make happen for Monday Club with that.
Hey, nice.
Hey! Yeah, so I'm pretty stoked about that.
All right.
I'll let you know.
Can you mail bear to Maine?
Yeah, sure.
All right. Cool.
Probably not flat rate.
Hopefully it's not flat. Puns. Hey, guess what?
This week in the news.
Dude, did you hear about the David Copperfield lawsuit taking place right now?
Which one?
Both of them. The one,
Yeah, actually
there are two, right?
Yeah, I think there are at least two going on right now.
There is a sexual assault or sexual something lawsuit against him, and that's not the one I was talking about. I don't know much about that, but he is being sued by some English dude for a lot of undisclosed amount for being hurt in one of his illusions at the MGM in Las Vegas.
Now, before we get into this, I think it's important to say that David Copperfield is a huge influence on both of us as far as our careers and as far as a performing artist is concerned. Would you agree with that?
Not the biggest, but yes.
Yeah, sure. I mean, not necessarily who I modeled myself after. I don't have a mullet or a motorcycle or anything like that. But certainly he's an icon in the magic industry. I also think that it's important to say that, Pete, you and I have not only gone to see this very show in Vegas together, but you actually got up on stage and participated in the specific illusion that this lawsuit references. Is that correct?
That is correct.
All right. So, without further ado, let's talk about this. Just basically, what happened is that this guy is alleging that as part of the illusion, he was ushered down a dark alley by Copperfield's people with, and not just him. There was, I think, 12 others plus him.
We should give a little tell him about what the trick is first. I think.
Okay, go ahead.
The illusion is called 13, where Copperfield and his people throw out these huge, big silver balls to the audience, and they bounce around. When the music stops, you grab one, and whoever grabs one gets to go up on stage and help. And I was lucky enough to grab one. Gus, you were in attendance when this happened.
Yeah,
and
I think I passed it to you.
You did? Oh,
I did.
You're the man. And so I went up on stage. I was not one of the people in the box. I was one of the people around the box that got to verify that the box was, everything was on the up and up. And so 13 people go into the box. I was not one of them, but I was on stage for this happening. They go into the box, and they disappear, and then they immediately reappear in the back of the audience, and they come back, walk through the audience, go back on stage. An amazing, groundbreaking illusion.
True. The other player that is in this lawsuit is a guy named Chris Kinner, who we've also been to Kinner's house.
Yeah, yes, we have. That was very, that was very cool.
Yeah, he was super cool to us. So
not guilty.
Yeah, absolutely
not guilty.
Yeah. The lawsuit alleges that one of the 13 who got into the box, he says that he got hurt in the transfer of him from the box to the back of the audience because he was ushered through some dark spaces by flashlight by Copperfield's people, and he misstepped and fell down and got injured, apparently severely enough that he wants to be paid for it.
Undisclosed amount. Yeah, and he said there was some dust on the floor as well, and he said he had cost him more than $400,000 in medical care. Right. Doesn't Britain have universal health care?
Look, I don't think we should debate the pros and cons of the healthcare system in one nation versus another.
I'm just saying, how does it cost him $400,000 to get free health care?
Look, man, we're getting off track. You're getting off track, man.
These are my questions.
Don't cloud the issue. No, the real thing I think we need to talk about is that in order to, as part of this lawsuit, Chris Kinner took the stand and was forced by the council to reveal how this trick worked, the intricacies of the trick, in order to try to help clear Copperfield's name. And I think it's one other thing that's important to say about this is that Copperfield has been doing this very same illusion in this very same spot for something like 20 years, right?
Yeah, thousands and thousands of performances of this illusion without apparently any incident, if no public incident anyways.
Right. So what's your take on all this, man? Do you think I don't think the guy's lying as in I don't think that he didn't hurt himself while he was running around in the dark places to get to the reveal spot of where the audience ends up, the people who disappear end up. That being said, Copperfield, even in the article that we'll link to these show notes, Copperfield takes the same route daily during the show for a completely different effect. And so the route that they take, I can't imagine that it's an obstacle course, right? The idea is for people to be able to get from one place to another as efficiently and quickly as possible. So is this a case where because he volunteered to get on stage and was part of this trick and hurt himself that Copperfield is liable? Or do you think it's a case of this guy tripped over his own feet, fell, and was like, well, Copperfield owns an island, so I think I want some of that Copperfield money?
I have a couple of things to say about it. I think even if you volunteer to get into a show, the person performing still has a responsibility to make it safe for the people on stage. So if there's any negligence, yes, that person needs to be held responsible, right? And so that's probably what they have to prove here. If it was just negligence and they didn't create a safe environment. I have a hard time believing that to be true because, like you said, not only is it in his best interest to keep people safe, but it's also in his because of getting sued, but it's also in his best interest to keep people safe and moving efficiently for the success of that trick, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
So I think I'm calling shenanigans on this. I think it's Copperfield owns an island, and I want some of that. And it doesn't just – he claims lasting brain and bodily injuries. I wish they would go into more details as to what they talked about there. That sounds ridiculous. Yeah, so I think he's just trying to get some money out of Copperfield. Also, here's another point, kind of a side point. It's an undisclosed amount, so they didn't have to reveal how much he was suing Copperfield for. That's bullshit, right? Copperfield had to reveal, and they asked the judge to have a closed room so they could reveal to the judge and probably the jury, so it's not part of public record, how this trick worked to protect trade secrets. Obviously, he's not hurting for money, but it's a livelihood, whatever. It's the show is. I don't even think the trick's in the show anymore right now. He was denied a private closed session to reveal the trick. That's bullshit.
Agreed.
If he gets to have a secret sum of money he's getting to be sued for, then you can just tell how the secret works in private. Like, come on, that's ridiculous.
Dude, I absolutely agree that should have been a two-way street. If Copperfield had to reveal something that was a part of his show and a livelihood for over 20 years, think about how many people won't get to participate on Copperfield's stage and have the story that you have because you got to go up on stage and be part of that experience because this guy and this judge forced a reveal of how that trick works, and so now Copperfield just says, all right, fine, we can't do that trick. It's gone out into the public, and now they do. I think they're closing with the dinosaur effect or something like that. So there you go. That's 40 people, probably 80 people most nights that don't get a chance to be on stage with me. So there you go. Hope you're happy.
And everybody always says how cool it is to be part of that trick. Like if you ever talk to someone who's part of it, they just light up telling people they were part of it. You know?
Absolutely. And so there's that. Two, I totally agree that if you are having an audience member up on stage, it is your responsibility to make sure that it is as safe and as secure and comfortable as humanly possible for both your best interest and theirs. So if he was backstage and there were knives laying around or an Iron Maiden open or pointy bits that he cut himself on or something, or even stairs that are unmarked or whatever, then I think there's a chance that is the culpability of the performer. But I mean, if you're just backstage and you get turned around and you twist and fall because you get clumsy and you fall down and you sort of hurt yourself, that's not on the performer. That's you. You fell down.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
Yeah. And another thing, too, is obviously he has liability insurance for this kind of stuff. So
certainly
he's not going to be paying, right? the insurance company probably couldn't find an agreed-upon amount to pay this guy to just go away and say you're okay. So he's got to be asking for a ton of money.
Yeah. I think it's one of those cases of somebody knows how much money Copperfield is worth and wants a tiny piece of that Copperfield bank.
Sounds like he's taking a quarter of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think he wants it. Anyway, just from the evidence presented to Monday Club has ruled in favor of Copperfield and is truly sorry that Copperfield had to release the workings of the trick to the public. I think that takes a little spark of magic away, and it certainly takes away from all of the people who could have experienced being on stage and participating in that effect from then through the future. So we're sorry about that, Copperfield. Hey, actually, that reminds me of something too, man. I really try not to use tricks or do effects that have the potential of getting me sued. I'm sure anytime you use lots of people and have to herd people, I think that there's always a chance that something happens. So I know that is part of that trick, and that I'm sure they've talked about all of the different ways that they could handle those situations. I also, for me personally, I had a couple of effects that I was working on that I really, really liked that used a borrowed ring, like a diamond ring from somebody, or an engagement ring, a wedding ring, or something like that. And I stopped doing those effects because all it would take is one time of accidentally dropping a wedding ring and having it lost in the dirt or something like that, or bouncing on the ground and breaking off, for me to just freak out, or them to freak out and want to sue me for the cost of their wedding ring, plus mental scarring and damages. So I hate that we live in a litigious society, that people think that when something bad happens, that's their opportunity to get some extra free money. That being said, if it's your fault, it's your fault, and you have to own up to that.
Yeah, but also you could get sued if someone walks up on stage and trips coming up the stairs and smashes their teeth in. You could get sued for that. I mean,
absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's crazy. The closest I've ever had to come. Have you ever been in a situation where you had to give away the secret of a trick?
No, I haven't.
I think I mentioned this a couple weeks ago, but I was doing summoning spirits in Alabama, and I was told right before I went on stage that the Christian group might picket my show, and immediately I thought of this Copperfield lawsuit. I'm like, am I going to have to give away how my tricks work to prove that I'm not actually contacting devils and spirits and stuff? And that's exactly where my brain went. But that didn't happen, as you know. So.
Yeah, and that would be such a weird fight, right? Like, on the one hand, you're like, look, I am personally telling you that I am not in league with the devil. That doesn't exist, and of course I'm not. That being said, I'm not about to expose how my livelihood works, because otherwise you guys would just be like, why on earth are we paying you all of this money to fly out here when all of you're doing is hitting a button in your pocket? That's dumb.
That's the very first magic book ever written, the discovery of witchcraft, was written for that exact reason, because the church. The Catholic Church at the time was during the Inquisition, right? They were killing street performers, people that practiced weird things like this, magic tricks, stuff like that.
They just weren't expecting the Spanish Inquisition.
Yeah, so that is the exact reason why the secrets were given away in the first place. Luckily, I don't think they're gonna kill me, but.
Well, cool. Well, again, Copperfield, we're on your side, and you're innocent until you're proven really, really guilty in our book.
Hey, it's time for Stories from the Road.
So last night was the first time I got a full night's sleep in over about a week, because I have been on the road all week, half pleasure, half business. It's been a crazy whirlwind week for me. I'll run you through it. I'll start at the beginning,
and
we'll go through it. Okay, so on Monday, last Monday, I left for Las Vegas with a good friend, my best friend, Monday Club co-founder Norman Ing. iSaveTractors.com is his now new business, and he was going to Las Vegas. There is a national hardware show that happens in Las Vegas every year at the convention center that he wanted to go to because they had an international manufacturer a section of the show where you could go and talk to international manufacturers and make connections that way. And then the rest of the convention was people selling interesting things for around the home and hardware stores. Buyers from hardware stores come here and they look for things to bring to their store. And so we went in on Monday. We got in late, and I've been up all day, long flights to Vegas, really tired. So we go play craps till 2 a.m. in the morning.
Dude, so while you were at this conference, it's not a Magic conference in any way, shape, or form, right? It's just like
correct.
You're there with Norm, who's checking out tractor parts and manufacturers, so you just get to be along for the ride.
Yeah, I was just chilling, and I was actually his marketing and communications manager and YouTube guy. So every time someone asked me, "Oh, and what do you do?" I'm like, "I'm the marketing and YouTube guy." Well, just look at our hands. My hands are all clean and pretty, and Norm's are all smashed to bits with oil, and he's like man hands and tractors and working on engines, and I'm like the guy who pushes record and stuff.
That's awesome.
And so, we stayed up real late playing craps and having some drinks, and we had to force ourselves to go to bed since we've been up all day. Then the next day was the hardware show. We got down there. And it was pretty cool. It was huge. There were 3 halls in the Vegas Convention Center. They were using, I think, all 3 of them, and it was just humongous. We were walking through. There were some interesting things we found that he's going to try to add to his store. But it was really interesting because Norm is Chinese, and he's American Chinese. He never lived in China. But we're walking through like the international manufacturing part, and it's like 90% Chinese people, and like legit from China Chinese people. They don't speak English. Some of them have translators and stuff. And so sometimes people start talking to him in Chinese, thinking that he speaks it. He used to speak, I think, Cantonese, but he doesn't speak Mandarin. So it was just kind of funny. And then he made a lot of good connections, and that was pretty cool. And then we went. We have back in the day. Winner of AGT, Matt Franco, was touring colleges, and we were buddies with him. Matt's been to my house. We worked on Magic at my place, and we've been out. We played paintball with Matt. So he's an old friend, and we went to see Matt Franco's show at the Link Hotel, which I highly suggest. If you have not seen it, go see it when you're in Vegas. It's an amazing show. He's an amazing guy. You'll love it. You'll have a fantastic time. So he got us VIP tickets to his show, which is always cool. And you feel like, I'm something here,
Yeah.
You sit down and you get a free drink and whatnot, and
oh, that's so baller. I'm so jealous already.
It was pretty sweet. And so we watched a show, and then afterwards we hung out and got to catch up a bunch. And that was pretty badass. He's such a good guy, really down to earth, and has an amazing Magic show. I really love it. So I'm taking you through what is that. Then I think we played more craps that night afterwards.
Sounds right.
There's a lot of craps. I taught Norm craps for the very first time. You ever play craps?
Yeah, I like craps a lot. The only thing with craps for me is I have to start off with a pretty decent amount of cash in order to be at a craps table for a long time. Because otherwise, craps, your money can just go real quick, or you can feel like you're making money real quick, too. So, that's my only caveat with craps. I feel like blackjack, if you find a $5 blackjack table, you can sit down and have a pretty good time for a pretty long time for $50 to $100. But craps, you have to kind of sit down with about $200, $250 to make it work out and make it worth your while.
Yeah, I can see that. We were up about a couple hundred the first night, and then from there on out, it was just downhill. Every time we stood at the craps table, there's like, oh, there goes another 100. There goes another 100.
So real quick on craps, CJ and I were driving through Oklahoma to get to our gig in, I think we were in Kansas somewhere. And we stopped at 2 casinos in one trip, which was pretty fun. But in Oklahoma, the way they do craps is they don't let you use dice. For whatever ridiculous reason, dice are outlawed in this state, even though they have a casino. And so instead of dice, they use cards. They deal out cards to equal the number that would be on a dice.
Huh.
And it changes the dynamic of craps like 100%, because instead of getting a shooter that's hot and they're like rolling the dice and shaking it and everybody's following the dice and where they bounce and then cheering or throwing up their hands in disgust, you just watch a computer screen as it reveals what cards were dealt.
That totally ruins the experience.
It does. It's such a boner killer.
Yeah, I would not stand there. I'd go play blackjack instead.
Yeah.
Oh, that sucks. Then the next day, we walked around Old Vegas a little bit down on Fremont Street during the day, and then met up with Matt again for lunch. He took us. I may have told you guys, I'm now plant-based. I don't eat meat, or just very occasionally I'll have a little bit. And I found out that Matt is also vegan, plant-based eater, and he brought us to his favorite vegan place called Veggie Nation, I believe. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it's right near Old Vegas. And it was awesome because I don't normally eat things that want to be something else. Like, I don't eat like pretend meat usually, just because it's weird. I rather just eat vegetables and call them vegetables. But they had this. We're in Vegas, so I was trying new things. They had this meatball sub that, I mean, if you gave one of these meatballs to a meat eater, I bet you $1,000 they would not know it was not real meat. The texture was perfect. The moisture was perfect. The taste was perfect. You put a little marinara on there. It was like perfect. And then they had veggie cheese that was on top. That was pretty good. Not as good as real cheese. But the meatball was on point. I was amazed. And then they're like, do you want ranch on the side? And it was so hard to order meatballs because I'm just programming myself not to order meat, not to eat ranch, anything with cream in it and anything cheese. And every time I ordered, I was like, can I have this? Is the meatballs real meat? Oh, there's cheese on that. Is that regular cheese? You know? And then she asked, would you like ranch? I'm like, I just stuttered. I was like, she's like, it's vegan. I'm like, okay, sure. It was so weird ordering these things I don't normally order. And it was great. Do you ever find a fake meat that lives up to real meat?
No, never. And in fact, I am glad that there are places that actually exists, like what you're talking about. But I think one of the downfalls of vegan and vegetarian restaurants is that they try to put out things and say, oh, this tastes exactly like a hot dog, so they just call it like a vegan hot dog, when really what they mean is it's beans that have been crushed together and put in a 6-inch strip and put on your hot dog bun. But and by itself, like, if that's what it was, that tastes good. Like, I don't deny that is a good tasting thing that you put on between two pieces of bread. But if you call it a hot dog and say it tastes just like a hot dog, I point at you in the face and say you're a liar. You're a damn dirty liar. So yeah, I think that whole idea of changing, of calling things that aren't meat the vegetarian or vegan versions of that and saying, oh, well, this is a blah, 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 it tastes exactly like that, I think you're wrong. I have seen it work once or twice where I just couldn't tell that something was not meat. For whatever reason, they got the texture right, the taste right, and stuff like that by combining vegetables. But yeah, I think that's one of the downfalls of vegan and vegetarian restaurants, is that they try to imitate meat. Like, don't do that. Just call it like, hey, this is a portobello mushroom on 2 pieces of bread that's going to taste really good, and I'll eat it and be like, holy crap, that tastes just like a piece of bacon or something like that. So yeah.
I'm totally with you on that. That being said, to use your line, if you go there, try the meatball sub. It tastes like meat. You'll be surprised. Then after lunch, the night before we had met one of the people that worked behind the scenes on Matt's show, and he said he had one of the top Copperfield, call back to Copperfield collections in the world. And that if we wanted to see it, we could come by. So after we had lunch, we went over to his house, and in his secret room off to the side, he had this amazing Copperfield memorabilia collection. He had jackets, he had old posters and magazines and pictures on the wall, newspaper clippings, everything. It was a little creepy, but a little awesome.
Like was it a little shrine-ish? Like just a tiny bit shrine-ish?
Yeah, there were some shriny things set up, but not too over. Yeah, it was. But my favorite piece of this whole, we were there for 20, 30 minutes looking through things. My favorite piece of this was he had, when you take you take a photo shoot, you have a bunch of pictures that you throw out, you don't use.
Right.
He had the proofs, the ones that were never used, proofs of a photo shoot from like in the 70s or early. It was from his very first special, that era.
Oh, cool.
And so
That's awesome.
It was like super young Copperfield, really, dorky looking, and trying to be cool though with the leather jacket and all these. He's holding a cigarette in one, trying to some of them. He's trying to be goofy at. You can obviously tell some he's trying to be super cool and charismatic and James Bond, and some are a little normal. But that was my favorite thing to see. Be like, I could relate to that. I'm like, yeah. I have pictures just like that where I try too hard and it doesn't work, or I'm too goofy and it doesn't work, and that was awesome. And he has a website too, so I'll leave that in the show notes if you want to go check out some of his collection. He's put it on this website, and so that was pretty sweet. And,
dude, that sounds amazing.
Yeah, he's got such a good collection. He told me that he has had David Copperfield call him personally and ask something about himself. He wanted to know something about his old promo, and he called this guy, and he looked it up, and he found the answer for him, some sort of typeface or something from a program in the 80s, and he had it, and so...
Dude, I bet that guy never washed his phone or anything like that after that.
No, it's pretty amazing, and that... So he knows, Copperfield knows about him, and that's pretty cool. That if you need, I wish I had a historian. I'd like to know. Tell me something about myself 20 years ago.
Right, because I sure don't remember.
Yeah, and then that night we went to another show, Absinthe. You've been to Absinthe, right?
I have. I went with CJ and James and Salish and I think Chris Milton went with us.
This was your bachelor party,
Dan
right?
Martin. Can't forget Dan. Yeah, this was for my bachelor party, and we all got tickets to go to Absinthe, and holy bejizzle, that is an amazing show. It's everything I love about Cirque, with all of the irreverence of watching like The Amazing Jonathan.
Yeah, you just feel like everybody's brought down to where they should be.
Right. Like before it even starts, you're like, oh, I see what's going to happen. Everyone's going to get offended, so no one can be. And but I don't know your experience, but my experience was, because I think they change out the acts. But my experience is you're in this beautiful, like truly amazing circus tent, basically, and there is a round stage. Like I would say it's 8 foot, 10 foot round at the most.
Yeah, it's tiny.
It's tiny, and they do these amazing acts. I saw a roller skating act, a 2-person roller skating act on a 10-foot round stage. I saw probably the best strongman act I've ever seen in my life with these 2 guys that did this just amazing strongman act. And then all of these aerialists and tightrope walkers and stuff like that in such a... I mean, you feel like you can reach out and touch these people. It was amazing.
Yeah, this was my second time seeing it. They didn't have this roller skaters this time, but they did the first time I saw it. Mm-hmm. And it was freaking great show. Go see it. We got tickets. We got like the cheap tickets, so we're in like the second to last row. But there's not a bad seat in the house. You're in the round. So don't worry about that if you go see it. And we're just sitting there having a drink, waiting for the show to start. Some woman comes up and she's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 6, and two of them are us, right? And then she asked, "Do you guys want to sit in the front row, or the second row?" And I'm like, "Yes, yes, yes." So we get they needed to fill some seats in the second row, so we got picked to go down and get like the I don't know, $150, $200 tickets in the second row, and that definitely changed the experience, especially for the acts. We were worried we were going to get picked on, which was fine. We would have been fine with it, but when they're doing the aerial stuff, they're freaking literally over your hair.
Yeah,
over your head, and it's awesome. You're getting wet from the guy in the tub and shaking water all over the first couple rows. We had like splash guards. It was fantastic. It was really fantastic.
Oh, I'm so jealous of past you.
Yeah, me too. That was I want to go back. And then after that, guess what we did?
You went and played craps.
Yeah, we played more craps. Oh, man. Oh, and the buffets. Oh, my God. I was so full. And this isn't even the end of the story. So that was our last night in Vegas. And then the next day, we flew to my second favorite place. First place is my home because it's my home. Second place is Austin, Texas.
Ow!
Where my better half of Monday Club is. And we were flying out there to shoot some Scam School episodes with our buddy Brian Brushwood, who has scamschool.com, I believe, or scamstuff.com, and look him up on YouTube if you don't know about it. Scam School. My episodes will be coming out hopefully in the next month or two. And so basically I was teaching performing some magic tricks and teaching them. And Gus, you are in all my episodes.
So Pete shows up, and I show up like an hour and a half late to the shoot. And really, my job when I was showing up, I was like, "Oh, dude, they're going to be wrapping up filming. I'll get there. We'll have a couple of beers, and then maybe we'll go out. Maybe we'll just chill at this bar." What ended up happening is their shoot for Modern Rogue went long, and so I got there an hour and a half late, and y'all hadn't even started yet. And so I get there, and they just mic me up and sit me right next to you. And basically every trick you teach, which are all exceptionally good tricks, we'll certainly link those when they come out. Every trick that you teach, they just say, "Okay, now Gus, you go ahead and perform it." And so every trick I think I tried, and I screwed up every single trick.
Gus needs to learn how to count by twos again.
It's totally true.
You
anyway,
did great,
I had a
though,
blast,
man.
dude. It was so good to see you, and it was so great to see you work doing your thing on Scam School. Seriously, this is I would say this even if you and I weren't boys. Like, dude, your tricks all fooled me. And I was sitting right next to you, but yeah, all of the tricks that you taught definitely fooled me, and I think we had some serious fun. I think they're going to be great episodes.
Nice, I hope so. I had a blast. It was wonderful to be hanging out with Brian doing the show, and then you showed up, and that just like put me over the top. I was like, this is I don't want to leave. It was awesome.
Then afterwards,
CJ showed
we hung
up.
out with. Yes, yeah. CJ was there, and obviously you
James,
and Norm were there together. And James, we got to all high five. We got the whole club back together again. Got the band together.
Yeah, it was great.
So, and then we went out to dinner, and then I think I dropped you off. We stumbled back to the hotel at like 12:30, and I think you had like a 4 a.m. flight.
It felt 5:15. We had to be there about like 4.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
And then so that was the end of that trip. But we went not for me because when we landed, I had a show that night a couple hours away in Massachusetts with another David Hall, who was just on. David Hall likes popcorns. Yeah. They actually hired us to do a fundraising show, so I did a little bit of time before Dave went on with his whole show, and I did a little bit of my show, and that was awesome. It was just a wonderful week because I got to hang with Norm all week. Then I got to see you guys in Austin and hang out. And it was like work/fun. It was like the perfect culmination and then of those two worlds. And then I got to go hang out with Dave, and it was work. And then we got to hang out afterwards. And, yeah, it was just wonderful. And then I crashed at his place for the night. Then had to do the next night. I had an 11:15 after prom party to perform for.
Oh, you poor bastard!
That's why I haven't slept in a week. And I got home at 3 a.m. and then had to wake up to have a special Mother's Day for my wife. So, and that was the end of my week. That was the long-winded travel stories.
Oh my God! Well, I raise my glass to you, sir. That sounds like a badass week. I don't think many people could pay for a vacation that was any more cool than that. And you got some business out of it. So, dude, it was great to see you. It was great to see Norm. I'm so glad you got to see Dave. And big cheers to you, buddy.
Thanks, brother. Thanks. So, have you been on the road?
Nope. Next. No, man, I have. We had a really great Mother's Day. I wanted to tell you about this. This past weekend, I got booked to do a Dr. Pepper museum in Waco, Texas, which is about an hour and a half or so from me. And this Dr. Pepper museum was celebrating, it was like their 50th or 100th, I don't know, anniversary of being a museum. And they hired me to come in and perform 2 shows. So I came out and I was all ready and prepared to do 2 magic shows. I show up and it's Texas, so it's starting to get in the 90s, the mid-90s outside, and they put me outside on their loading dock, basically, to do my magic shows. And not only did they put me outside on their loading dock, but there was no cover for me. So I'm in the direct sun, and there was no cover for the audience that is basically standing on the loading dock driveway, and they're just expected to stand there throughout my entire show.
In the bright sun.
In the bright, hot, 90-something degree sun. So I did my first show, and I gathered a crowd, and I started off my show. Everything was going fine, and by mid-show, I had lost almost all of my audience, and I didn't lose them completely. They just fled from in front of the stage to the sides of the street where there was a tiny bit of shade that they could kind of hide in. And it's a family show, so they've got little kids, teenagers, adults, and so everyone's trying to protect their children from getting brain damage and sunstroke. Meanwhile, I'm up on stage sweating, just sweat pouring off of me, trying to connect to an audience that's running away from me, and it was totally brutal. It was absolutely brutal. Then because they're trying to make this a fun activity, they were like, all right, and now it's time for our water balloon toss to cool everyone down. And they aimed the water balloon toss right at my equipment, including my brand new Bose sound system. Oh. And so I grabbed a volunteer and I was like, hey, I need you to stand right in front of my sound system, make sure no water gets anywhere near it. And this guy was like, dude, I'm a hockey goalie. Like, you couldn't have asked for a better guard. And I was like, oh, hell yeah. And I gave him a high five. Do you know not 1 but 2 water balloons got past him and splashed on my goddamn sound system?
Because you didn't get the 36-year-old accountant to come out of the stands, right?
That's right. I should have gotten that guy to come in and sub. Anyway, he looked at me all shame-faced when I walked over and looked, and there's like water droplets on the outside of my thing, and he's like, oh, dude, I'm so sorry. Can I get a napkin? And I was like, nope, you can leave. Thank you. Goodbye. And he's like, I'm so sorry. And he just walked away like with his head down on his chest. And I was like, your hockey team must suck. Just
did you say that?
Just suck. No, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. But I was very mad.
Oh man.
Anyway, so he walked away, and then I did my second show. And for my second show, I realized that I was just not going to have an audience for this one either. Right? It's going to be the exact same thing. It was even hotter, if you can believe it, because it was now in the afternoon. And so I did an entire show made up of tricks that I had either haven't performed in 3 to 5 years, or all of my B material that I hadn't done in the first show. And I did that because I was like, no one's going to watch this show. And it was fun for me because I got to do a full-on dress rehearsal for all of this stuff that I hadn't done in years or hadn't performed live ever, because there was just nobody directly in front of me watching. When it was over, I was like, well, that was my show, and when it was over, I had 3 people come up and ask for business cards for a show that I don't actually do. So it was fun. But I drove back home, and then I had heat stroke. I was both dehydrated and had heat stroke, and just laid on my couch for the rest of the day. It killed my entire weekend. So yeah, that was my story while you were playing craps with Norm and hanging out and being a rock star on Scam School.
Yeah, some people just have the life, and some people. You know what I have the solution for you, man. Pedialyte.
What's up, man?
Pedialyte in a packet. I've said this before on Monday Club. It was a teachable moment. This is how you don't get hangovers. Pedialyte. It is replenishes your electrolytes. I ordered a bunch of Pedialyte from Amazon, and it was supposed to arrive the day I left for Vegas. Because I was leaving in the evening and it was supposed to come in the afternoon with my mail, and it never came because my mail person stinks. They always forget to leave packages, and then I miss it. So I had to buy like $8 Pedialyte in Pedialyte, and they make it in packets now, so you can just throw them in your bag and dump it into a water bottle, shake it up, and drink that down, and you're good to go.
All right. Well, I definitely needed that and maybe I'll just go ahead and invest in that for the rest of the summer. Because, oh man, I lost like 8 pounds in sweat weight. I mean, it was just horrendous. So yeah, that was my show for the weekend. I'm gonna save my other thing that I did this past weekend for next week's show because it was really cool. Though I will tease it. I got to go to an adult play that was held in a warehouse down in downtown Austin that's like an underground theater that used to be a Fleshlight warehouse.
Like the masturbation
and the production
thing?
And the production was an adult evening with Shel Silverstein.
So
who did like
adult.
Yeah, like who did Where the Sidewalk Ends and stuff like that. So anyway, I'm going to hang on to that story till next week.
I can't wait for next week.
Right? Teachable moments.
All right. So this week I was driving and I got a call and they said, hey, this is Verizon, blah, 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 Verizon Wireless. They're my carrier for my phone. And they were talking to me about how there was some fraud activity on my account. Right then I'm thinking, what the fraud activity on my cell phone account? And they say someone bought an iPhone 10 and they named a town in Washington State. And I was like, yeah, that's not me. And they go on and on and on. They're like, oh, well, we just need to get this fraud thing pushed through before that iPhone goes out so you're not charged for it and stuff. We're going to text you a number. Just read off that number when we text it to you. And I'm thinking to myself, this is ridiculous. Like, everything sounded okay. It was just a little off, and I was driving, so I was like, "Well, I can't do that now. I'll have to call you guys back about it." And they're like, "Well, we got to do it before the phone goes out, so it doesn't get charged to your account." And so I retort, I'm like, "It can't wait. Well, it can wait a half an hour." And eventually, after some back and forth, I just said it can wait a half an hour, and he said, okay, call us back, and he hung up. And so immediately I dial *611, which takes me directly to Verizon Wireless. And I talk to somebody and I ask, has there any fraud on my account? And she looks through and she's like, no, there's nothing happening here. No iPhones were ordered. And so it was a phishing phone call, me trying to get some sort of number to text back to them that might give them some more information or even control over my phone or account. I don't even know exactly what they were after. But I was marked, and I pulled through and was the smarter that day. I'm so excited to thwart a con. That was you feel so freaking good about that. So I was pretty proud of myself. So that's my teachable moment. Never give out information when someone calls you from someplace. Never ever. Always say I will call you back, and then you can call back and verify that there's a problem or fraud or whatnot, because you could get in some serious trouble if that happens.
Dude, that's one. Congrats to you, man, because that definitely. Anytime anyone tries to hard pressure you for information or puts a immediacy on time limits for you, that's got to be a scam, and especially if they call you. So yeah, it sucks that we live in a world where you have to just assume everyone's trying to steal everything from you all the time, and so it has to be on you to verify. But good for you, man. Good for you for getting around that and for not taking the bait on that. Because, that kind of scam just plays off of people not knowing that and freaking out and being like, oh, my God, yeah, of course.
Yeah, like, I don't want to buy a $1,000 iPhone. What the hell?
Right.
Like, come on.
Right.
And, he had my name. That's probably pretty easy information to get, that he knew I was on Verizon. And he just had a couple of pieces of information that made me believe right off the bat that he was who he said he was. But if that ever happens to you, just say I'll call you back and go to a number that you knows correct.
Right.
Oh, another thing. And he played off, which I found interesting. This made me even more suspicious because he said, well, I'm calling you from the customer service number. And I thought to myself, that's interesting. That's a detail I wouldn't even think about to verify the number. So I Googled Verizon Wireless customer service number, and the number that showed up on my caller ID was exactly the 800 number, right? And here's the thing. If you have a call center and you have a call-in number of one number, you're not going to call me from that number, right?
Right.
So they spoofed it to make that number pop up on my caller ID. But if Verizon Wireless actually called me, I'm pretty sure that number wouldn't pop up.
Right. Right. That's your dial-in number, not their caller ID number.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. God. That's a $1 trillion industry, is scamming folks out of their credit card numbers.
Yeah. It's crazy. And I had my credit card was stolen, my number, so I had to get a new credit card.
Oh, man.
Everyone's after me.
Here. Yeah, I'm sorry, bro. Well, I'm going to cheers you for that, because that is a way to avoid it this time, man. There you go.
Thank you.
Here's my teachable moment, and it has to do with my Mother's Day. So for Mother's Day, I invited my mom and my grandmother and, of course, my wife to the house, got the house nice and cleaned up. And ladies and gentlemen of Monday Club, I'm going to impart some wisdom from on high. So get your pens and papers out. I'll wait. Okay, here's the deal. I made the best homemade pizzas of all time at our house. And I want to impart my hard-fought knowledge to you, the Monday Clubbers. Okay, here's what you do. First of all, I love grilling. I love being in my backyard and cooking on my grill. I don't like doing anything super complicated, like that takes hours or anything like that, but I love being out there and cooking on my grill, especially throwing on some wood to make some wood-smoked anything. So here's what I did. I went to the Home Depot. For $24.99, I believe it was $24.99, maybe it was $29.99, whatever. I got a pizza stone, a ceramic stone that came with a giant pizza scoop and a pizza cutter. I took that ceramic stone, I warmed it up in the oven, and then I put it on the barbecue grill once I got the grill up to temperature. I used some mesquite wood in there on top of the charcoals to add some wood smoke flavor. And I have a smoke box that I threw in some Jack Daniel's wood chips in that I had soaked in water to add some extra smoke flavor. Put those in, put the stone onto the grill. Go to your local grocery store, and you can find pizza dough that is already made pizza dough. You just have to take it out of the bag and roll it out and make a circle with it. Now, here's your big secret, Gus secret number one. Take a piece of parchment paper or even a piece of aluminum foil and lay it out and put your dough on that. Make your pizza however you want to. I used a homemade pizza sauce. We threw on some sun-dried tomatoes, some onions. I grilled some portobello mushrooms and threw those on there. Just so good. It was so freaking good. And then cover it with I covered it with quattro formaggio. You can certainly cover it with just mozzarella. Put the cheese on it. Once you have your unmade pizza on this on your sheet, you take that sheet and you set that sheet directly onto your pizza stone. Close the lid. Let it sit there and cook for about 5 to 7 minutes. It'll get all that nice flavor of the wood smoke in there. It tastes like a brick oven pizza. Open up the lid. Then you're going to, once what you've just done now is you've made a semi-solid pizza, but it's solid enough that you can slide that parchment paper or piece of aluminum foil out from underneath. Let it cook directly on the pizza stone, which will harden up the bottom and give you a perfect crust for another, 4, 5, 7 minutes, however hot. It kind of depends on how hot your grill is. Then open it up, look at the beautiful piece of art pizza that you've just made, scoop it off the stone, put it on a cutting board, cut it up, and serve to your family. And you're welcome, Monday Club, because I'm not kidding. I made probably in my top 3 pizzas I've ever tasted in my entire life for Mother's Day this weekend, and it was super easy. And once you've bought that stone, it's yours for life. All you have to do is go get the ingredients, and you can make yourself your own pizza. And we'll put all of that in the show notes as well.
That sounds amazing. So, pizza stone, preheated, dough on the aluminum foil, toppings, right?
Sauce, toppings, cheese.
And then
set the whole
thing on the hot stone.
Close up the lid, let it get all the wood smoke and all that stuff in there. It'll harden up the pizza. Open up the lid, slide the parchment paper or aluminum foil out so the pizza can rest directly on the stone. Close the lid, let it sit for another 5 to 7 minutes. Open it up, take your pizza off, cut it up, enjoy.
Dude, I think I just ordered an Amazon pizza stone. Wow, what an episode! This has been amazing. That we got to so much in so little time.
I know, right?
That was episode 61. Go out there and have a wonderful Monday, guys.
We love you.
Thank you guys so much for being part of Monday Club. We love you all. Make sure you check us out, MondayClubPodcast.com. Sign up for the newsletter there, Facebook.com/Monday Club Podcast, Twitter, Monday Club Pod, Instagram, Monday Club Podcast. Email us questions, comments, concerns. Buy us a drink through PayPal, MondayClubPodcast@gmail.com. Thank you so much to James Caldwell, our sound engineer, and Zach Holder for our music. We love you. As the wonderful Gus says,